Welcome to Creature Guide Live. For those of you that don't know, my name is Ethan. We're going to be going over current animal news and as well as prehistoric from around the world, and as well taking a look at some interesting animal videos. Starting off with India.mongabay.com, experts divide over research arrows and rivers. So this is referring to the very long and narrow-snouted crocodilians of India, and they are extremely rare. There's only somewhere between 800 to 1,200 of these animals over in the Indian wild. So let's take a look. This seems to be a juvenile. Seems to be fairly healthy. So in early 2024, 37
I
captive
don't know if
bred.
he's healthy. Look at that big long nose.
Well, technically his nose is just right there, but yeah, it is somewhat longer than most crocodilians. Yeah, crocodilians compared to their body size. Somewhat. Well, is it? Maybe it's not if you're considering just the nose part. But it's those distinct protrusions on the Garrel's snout, kind of like similar to earlier crocodilomorphs back in the Mesozoic era, especially around the early, even to late Cretaceous, to an extent, where you had animals like Sarcosuchus, which had a very long and slender snout. So that was a 30-foot or 9-meter, 4-ton crocodilian that inhabited different parts of Egypt and Morocco. Crocodilomorph, not crocodilian. The crocodilians had not evolved yet. So in February 2024, 37 juvenile Garrels, Gavaiolus gang, gang, hmm, Gangeticus, were transported 550 kilometers from the Razikibeel Mini Zoo to the banks of the Ganga River in Murshidabad, West Bengal. So the Garrels, which were born out of a captive breeding program in late 2021, were sheltered individually in ventilated PVC pipes. Oh, by the way, just real quick, am I being heard? During the 15-hour overnight trip, forest staff sprinkled the animals with water every 1 to 2 hours to maintain hydration. Yeah, that's good. I mean, you can also have it where these animals quickly overheat despite them being reptiles. Garrels also might be a bit more susceptible to it than compared to certain other crocodilians. But people tend to, or um, many people assume that crocodilians in general are quite immune to heat, at least average heat to an extent, and they can actually get quite stressed. It doesn't take very long. It's more of what they're immune to. It's still not necessarily the best for them, but they can go for a period of time without food, but they still would prefer to have snacks or measles every now and then.
Measles?
Is that not a term for like a measle portion of food? Or
Oh, okay. Yeah, but you wouldn't say measles.
okay, yeah, that's a virus.
Measles, yeah, it's like the mumps.
Yeah, that's, I don't think crocodiles get that. Let's see. During
A
the
measly amount of food.
measly okay, that's what I meant. During the 15-hour oh, I already said that. For the species, it was a return to a historic home. For the conservationists present, it was a moment of quiet satisfaction. Shahnawaz Khan, the lead for aquatic habitats at World Wildlife Fund India, said in an email response to Manga Bay India. Khan recalls that there was concern about the animal's condition after the long journey, and the team watched with relief as the Garrel is observed to be alert, responsive, and in good health. Paused briefly before crawling to the river. Yeah, it depends on the individual. You can have it where certain young crocodilians, depending on the species, will immediately head into the river, and others will be a bit more cautious because they might instinctively sense or assume that there could be another larger crocodilian waiting for them, or they could even possibly sense that there's certain tiger or leopard in the area. Let's see. Elephants could smush them too. Actually, certain pythons in the area could eat them as well. So, the reintroduction project was a coordinated effort between the West Bengal Forest Directorate and World Wildlife Fund India. A recent report published in the journal Reptiles and Amphibians outlines a project aimed at enhancing the likelihood of long term survival of the Garrels in the lower Ganga basin. The Garrels population has significantly declined over the years due to loss from water impoundment, sand mining, hunting, and intensive fishing. Fishing can have a dramatic effect on Garrels, especially more on them compared to other species of crocodilians, considering Garrels, I mean, when you look at that very long and slender snout, it's really only designed for going after smaller species of fish. Now, it is possible that Garrels might go after small rodents, but when it comes to mammalian size, that's about it. Maybe they'll even hunt small birds.
I've gone after some rodents, they got stuck in my teeth, though.
That's concerning. Um, but let's see. What was the other thing? Um, it's not hitting me. Only about 650 adult Garrels remain in the wild. Whoa, okay, that is much lower than I suspected. I thought there were over possibly 1,000. That is not good. That must be from a recent survey, unless there's another population in India that I'm not thinking of. Not India, South Asia in general. That is just not hitting me. That is bad. Sheesh. Oh, there he is. That's definitely an adult. I think they can get definitely up to around 800 pounds at least.
Oh, I thought the other one was a full-grown one.
No, 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 or a little over 350 kilograms. Yeah, this no, it's just a baby
Oh, wait, I wanna see his teeth again.
or juvenile. Yeah. No, here's the thing. I mean, these things are technically capable of doing damage, but um, I mean, it certainly is possible of taking on a human, but they don't hunt people. Now, this is interesting. This very distinct protrusive snout or nose layer.
That's what I was looking at.
Yeah, this is very distinct from any other species of crocodilian today. I mean, even compared to freshwater crocodiles, they tend to have just a very long and thin, narrow snout like the Garrel. They don't have this type of an ending. This is somewhat similar to what you see in crocodilomorphs from the early Cretaceous period, around 110 million years ago, like Sarcosuchus. It's almost identical. It is interesting. So
Looks like he
it's
has a blob on his nose.
yeah, that is yeah, it's a distinct feature that I'm referring to. And they also even have different splayed out teeth at the front, which you could say to an extent might be somewhat similar to certain other crocodilians, especially crocodiles. Maybe not so much alligators or caimans, considering they have a different structured snout. I mean, even he does compared to crocodile species, but especially along the main sides of his jaw. But when you look at the front, it's quite different. Well, I guess what I was trying to say was it's a bit more similar to the front of other or of the crocodiles.
This makes it look like it's not real to me.
Yeah, it's actually something that you don't really see in other, species of crocodilian, where it's kind of smooth and not so much wrinkly on the edges. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else. So, a Garrow spotted in the Tumble River, where 77 to 80% of the global adult Garrow population is found. And that's the other problem. Apparently, the rest of the population doesn't have access to other mates, or at least they have to travel much further. Garrels have long and thin scutes or scales, osteoderms, unlike the broader ones that crocodiles have. An adult male can be as long as 7 meters in length, and it's around, well, that's about 23 feet. So I could be off. They might be able to reach somewhere between 1,500 to 2,100 pounds or close to over 900 kilograms. And females remain around 4 to 5 meters. That might be their weight, around maybe the 800-pound or 350 kilogram realm. 4 to 5 meters, somewhere between 12 to 15 feet. Historically, Garrels have been found in Pakistan, India, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Nepal, and Myanmar. Currently, they are only found in Bangladesh, Nepal, and India. Oh, great. The other populations are extremely far away from the ones over in India. Nepal and Bangladesh, jeez. Nepal north, in the northeastern area of the country, whereas if I'm thinking of that right. Yeah, and also, Bangladesh is just east of India. Now there is a part of India that is adjacent to the 2 countries, but that's still a ways. Let's see. In India's West Bengal, Garrels were recorded from the Ganga and Brahmaputra river systems until the mid 20th century, after which the species declined rapidly and became locally extinct due to intense river modification, dams, barrages, and other structures that impact the water flow.
Now let's go structures.
No, no, no. Got too much disrespect to this language. Unsustainable fishing practices and human disturbance. Globally, the Garo population has declined by more than 94% since the 1950s due to similar pressures, placing the species in the critically endangered category on the International Union for Conservation of Nature, the IUCN Red List. So approximately 77 to 80% of the global adult Garo population is confined to a single river, the Chambal in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Uttar Pradesh in the west and central parts of India. Concentrating crocodiles in one area makes the entire species vulnerable to threats. So let's see. As Khan points out, a mass mortality event in 2007 2008 in the Chambal highlighted the species' extreme vulnerability. In the mortality event, over 100 Garrels, mostly from a 40-kilometer stretch of the lower Chambal, died of kidney failure. Oh, likely from an unidentified toxicant. Right, right. Sure. The field investigation report stated one disease outbreak or major infrastructure project could threaten most of the species, said Turan Nar,
Wait
a
a minute. If they knew it was
marine.
from kidney failure, could they just test it to see?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I wouldn't think it would take very long. Almost as if the government was preventing it. Member of the IUCN Crocodile Specialist Group and not part of the reintroduction project. That's interesting, but maybe not surprising. Um, okay, so I guess seeing they're along the okay, scientists monitor released Garrels, I guess that's what they're doing at the moment, in the Ganga River. February 2024, 37 juvenile Garrels were released in the Ganga in Murshidabad, West Bengal. A coordinated effort between the West Bengal Forest Directorate and World Wildlife Fund India. Okay, so they might have said that earlier. So that is good to hear that we have a handful coming in to help the population. Well, the reintroduction could be a vital step in decentralizing a critically endangered population so that they are not all limited to one specific site and hence the same risks. Some experts argue the endeavor ignores the challenges of 50 years of reintroduction projects across India by central and state governments and other non governmental organizations. At the same time, experts say Garo conservation efforts must consider habitat conservation as well and address the pressures on the river itself, including sand mining, dam construction, sewage discharge, and abandoned fishing nets.
Don't we always all discharge sewage?
Uh, yeah. Um, hmm. Commenting on the reintroduction process outlined in the recent report, experts who have also worked with Garo conservation in India have expressed skepticism about the success of such initiatives, especially in Murshidabad stretch of the Ganga River where the reintroduction took place. Girls took to Girls take almost a decade, sometimes 2, to reach sexual maturity. The ultimate benchmark for success is not survival, but a self-sustaining breeding population, said Nair of the IUCN Crocodile Specialist Group. He added that between the late 1970s and today, India has released between 10,000 and 12,000 girls, and only 650 of them are okay, let's round it up, somewhere between 700 to 750 are alive. That's horrible. With how? With almost nothing to suggest that it has succeeded in establishing new breeding populations. Now, granted, there are a variety of rivers in India that are heavily polluted, and I'm wondering if, like, these contaminants or however many toxins are in the river are what's killing them. And not just the Garrels, I mean, even their own fish stocks. And I would also assume that, or guess, that this would be affecting otter populations in the region, maybe even certain mugger crocodile populations, which are native to India, a close relative of the saltwater crocodile. So this is quite something. Let's see. I think it's going to have an effect on crustacean populations, which the Garo probably also feeds on. Jalabdeen A, director of the Garo Ecology Project under the Madras Crocodile Bank Trust. There's a Madras Crocodile Bank Trust, who is also not involved in this reintroduction process, points out that in reptiles, natural survival rates for hatchlings are often less than 1%. No, 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 no. This is in an area where there aren't many predators. Like, uh, even when it comes to their own kind. And And people aren't even allowed to hunt them. Not saying that people don't probably occasionally poach them, but there comes to a point where it should be much higher. I mean, when it comes to reintroduction of, um, other species, whether mammals, reptiles, birds, and there aren't really any predators, if the habitat is in good condition, there aren't any massive weather events, they tend to skyrocket in population. It sounds like there's something else occurring. Obviously, it looks like, mentioning the kidney failure, but that only seems to be a portion of the number that has been put out there since the '70s. That seems to be like, there's major problems in the ecosystem. Releasing only 37 individuals in a single event, as was done in the World Wildlife Fund reintroduction project, is, in his view, an insufficient number to guarantee a viable population. Well, yes, that is true, but we had 10 to 12,000 before, or since the '70s, and somehow there's this few. This doesn't make any sense. Uh, um, Jeffrey W. Lang, emeritus professor at the University of North Dakota and senior scientific advisor and mentor to the Garo Ecology Project in India, explained that on a conservative estimate, almost 100,000, some Asian currency, I don't know, sometimes 2 to 3 lakh are spent per captive bred Garo on capturing and breeding before releasing the Garrels. I have no idea what the correlation between this is.
Hold on,
Guessing it's like an Indian pound or
hold on. Find out what it
dollar,
is.
not a yang. Okay, capturing and breeding before releasing Garrels.
That can't be right. That says $356,000.
Mm, hmm, I don't know. Yeah, it seems like a bit.
That's a lot. Hold on, let's try this and see what it says. Almost 100,000. Wait,
No, I think
100,000
there's
what?
yeah, I have no idea what that lock
Oh,
LAKH.
sometimes 2 to 3,000. 2 to 3 lot. What? Yeah.
Wait, hold on a second. Almost 100,000 lock or sometimes 2 to 300,000 lock are spent per captive bred Garrel? Well, how? If that's the right, no way you could if that was 350, no, something's off. I'm going to keep going though. With limited money, we need to see what we can learn from our previous
Oh,
programs.
100,000, okay. I don't know why it was coming up the other way. It's 1,104.
Okay, or 2 to $3,000.
No, what do you get? No.
Well, it says 2 to 3 lock. 2
Yep.
2 or which would be, I think, guess be 200,000, 300,000. So,
So somewhere between $1,000 and 3,500. No, bless you.
thanks. With limited money, we need to see what we can learn from our previous programs. He says, adding it is essential that extensive and long-term post-release monitoring be incorporated as a critical component of such attempts. Trying reintroduction projects is fine, but conservation right now should focus on habitat protection. Habitat cleaning? About 80% of the Garo population is in Chembal, which is under threat from sand mining. If we can't protect that, reintroduction elsewhere won't help. Okay. Hmm. So as part of the reintroduction project, wait, conducted yes, there was conducted a habitat suitability assessment. Khan said the Ganga Brahmaputra landscape with its free-flowing rivers, suitable sandbanks, and historic range was found appropriate for reintroducing Garrels. The team identified the Tik Tik Pada's braided channel to provide a calm environment for the release of the Garrel juveniles. Jalab Dean, however, criticized the habitat assessment, saying such an assessment needs to be more in depth. The recent releases described in the West Bengal reintroduction study have virtually no chance of really being successful given the current habitat suitability as assessed by World Wildlife Fund India and the Forest Department for the project. He cited the recent green status assessment of the IUCN Red List, which states that the lower Ganges and Delta are not suitable for sustaining Garo populations. The assessment has identified the 6 populations of Garo that show some evidence of breeding and 14 localities where Garo have previously been abundant. For now, marginal populations and or transient occurrences, and the lower Ganga is one of these latter sites. So it seems to be that many of these tiny populations within this small population India are separated as well. Pointing to ecological variation along the river, he added that the Hooghly belt of the Ganga is most definitely unsuitable. I will say that if there is a river in India that is suitable, it's actually quite surprising. However, our assessment found Murshidabad suitable. Pradeep Bari, IFS Divisional Forest Officer, Bankura South Division, West Bengal, said dolphins have thrived in the same river with the same anthropogenic pressures. Wow, really? Well, that's surprising. Jeez, what kind of genes do these dolphins have? These are like the aquatic mammals, like the Persians, basically like the mutant Chernobyl animals to an extent. Let's see. Experts not associated with the study have raised that the release site of the World Wildlife Fund reintroduction project is along the international border with Bangladesh, where the Border Security Force regulates activity. Monitoring would be difficult here, as to run notes. This could raise suspicions across the border because of the movement of people. For releasing Gerals, okay, that's weird. Jail Abdeen said if barrels are washed into Bangladesh during a monsoon, as happened in Puhab's Bees Yaz River, bringing them back becomes a diplomatic and logistical nightmare. I mean, Bangladesh is part of their historic range. So. Khan looks at this challenge um, as an opportunity for enhanced cross-border coordination. While traditional tracking across borders is not feasible, this situation creates a constructive opportunity to employ advanced technology such as telemetry. Currently, this technology is not being used in monitoring, and the team has done bi-directional monitoring through the boat. And that's interesting. Well, there is a larger and a smaller one.
Male and a female, maybe?
Garo female and a juvenile in Bardia National Park, Nepal. So that's part of the tiny population over in Nepal. It's like, they say only 650 in the wild. Oh, yeesh. Okay, so, hmm. Captive raised girls frequently exhibit atypical behavior, such as approaching humans for food, says experts, compared to those raised in the wild. Oh, great. That's what we need.
That's why they're saying it'll be a logistical nightmare.
Yeah. I interesting. You're supposed to have it where they're not habituated to humans.
So basically, they show up at your house and ask for food.
Yeah. Fishing nets and sand mining are some of the other threats to the reintroduced Gerals at this site, say both Nair and Jalabdeen. Within the first 15 days of the West Bengal release, 3 Gerals became entangled in abandoned fishing nets and drowned. The, Jeez, the forest directorate quickly removed 150 kilograms of these nets. Question is,
What
how
does that
much?
mean?
Yeah, we don't know. Well, yeah, we're on what, 310, 320 pounds, but
No, no,
yeah,
I
how
meant
many nets are
that
we?
was my question. What does that mean?
It could be quite heavy. I mean, okay, it's good that they're doing post-release monitoring, which many programs don't do, but ideally this should have happened beforehand. Reintroduction project team had noted that river-dependent communities, which have not seen Gerals, need to be engaged. In their awareness programs, initial reactions were often rooted in fear, as many residents confuse the slender-snouted Geral with the more aggressive marsh or mugger crocodile. Once the team explained that Gerals are specialized fish eaters and generally shy around humans, except those captive ones apparently, the response shifted toward curiosity and rapport. Captive reared Garrel, having been fed dead fish, attempt to feed on fish caught in the netting and get caught themselves and quickly drown in most instances. Unless they, fisher folks, agree to no longer net fish in the release area, the net fishing would continue, with tragic consequences for the released Garrel. So I guess another reason why a portion of those 10 to 12,000 didn't make it is because they ended up drowning in the nets. The experts Manga Bay India spoke to also critic the captive bred nature of the animals. Juveniles raised in tanks and fed dead fish often lack the musculature, jeez, to survive fast flowing currents. What, they're being raised like veal? Jeez, that's gross. That I mean, it's beyond that. That's irritating. And the fast flowing currents and the instinct to hunt live prey. Yeah, you would think they would be feeding them live fish and in a much lar in a I in general, large area to develop healthy psychology, physiology, mentality.
Instead of rehabilitating them to get them ready, they're dumping them out.
Who is this? Did World Wildlife Fund do this?
It's like they're financing it.
Uh,
Is that surprising?
well, World Wildlife Fund has, let's just say, I mean, they do, when it comes to necessarily these projects, I have no idea. It's just that I tend to, in some cases, not entirely support them because they attack people while at the same time asking for money to help fund large projects. And it's not just over in India and different parts of Africa, it's everywhere. So let's see. Furthermore, captive raised, oh, I already said that. Okay, so both Nair and Jaleb Dean suggest a soft release approach, keeping animals in enclosed ponds connected to the river to let them acclimatize, develop a sense of place before full release. You've got carols that are just um, physically, psychologically, just not equipped to deal with the wilderness.
For people that are just joining us, the Garrel is this guy.
Yeah, so this is second largest crocodilian over in India, as well as Nepal and Bangladesh.
Did I go far enough down?
Um, I think so. So let's see. Oh wait, one more. Okay, so they were healthy, captive bred juveniles, about 1 year old. They were transported overnight and released immediately. He added that although the Garrels were released into a stream of the Ganga, which in effect function as a soft release, the logistics did not allow for a formal soft release, as there was no force staff stationed nearby. The release site lay outside the protected area. This whole thing is like one big. There's like little logic behind it. Oh boy, I don't. I don't know what to say about the Carol. I mean, I wanted. Let's say you do make it. Now you've got a problem where they could simply have bad genetics that they're passing down to later generations. Ugh. Uh, that could explain also why many from the 10 to 12,000 didn't make it. How they were being raised.
Well, that was the point. Yeah.
Alright, let's head to the next video.
The next video?
I mean, the first video.
Okay, this was just a short one that I thought was fun.
Oh, a little pine marten. Is this part of the Avoid Your Wolf project, or is this wildlife trail cams or something?
Hold on. I don't know.
Definitely looks like it's somewhere up in possibly. Nah.
Oh,
Okay, so we don't know exactly.
Danny Boy Wildlife.
Hmm. Could be Minnesota. Oh, was that it? It was just the pine marten? Oh.
Mhm. I just thought it was cute.
Probably looking for voles and squirrels. Maybe scavenging too. All right, heading over to the ocean from the rivers news.miami.edu. New acoustic study reveals deep diving behavior of elusive beaked whales. Findings provide the first detailed look at Gervais beaked whale dives anywhere in the world. Hmm. Let's see. Scientists have captured a rare view of one of the ocean's least understood whales without ever seeing it. By listening to the sounds beaked whales naturally produce, Researchers have reconstructed a three-dimensional picture of their deep diving behavior in the Gulf of Mexico. The study provides the first detailed description of the deep diving behavior of a Gravis-beaked whale, Mesoplodon europus, anywhere in the world. Using passive acoustic data alone, the research offers a unique window into how this elusive species moves and forges far below the ocean surface. Beaked whales spend most of their lives at extreme depths and surface only briefly, making them exceptionally difficult to study using traditional visual surveys or animal-borne tags. Instead, the research team relied on passive acoustics, underwater listening systems that record species-specific echolocation clicks to track their movements during deep foraging dives. The approach provides a scalable, non-invasive way to study deep diving whales and collect data critical for conservation and management. Okay, well, let's see what's occurred.
Yeah, that was a
Okay, the sonar. So, it seems to be going after squid like sperm whales. Hold on a second. What species is this again? Gurvas beaked whale. Okay, I was thinking of the Cuvier's beaked whale, which is so far, at least at the moment, is the whale with the deepest diving depth. I think it can dive over 8,000 feet? Somewhere between 8 to 12,000 feet, or between 2.5 to nearly 4,000 meters? Okay, so let's see. Echolocation clicks from a goose-beaked whale reach hydrophones at different times, revealing its 3D position and dive behavior while foraging. These findings come at a critical time for beaked whales in this heavily industrialized region, said Heloy Freund-Moy, PhD, lead author of the study, and a bioacoustic scientist at the University of Miami Rosenthal School of Marine, Atmospheric, and Earth Sciences Cooperative Institute for Marine and Atmospheric Studies. There is an urgent need for reliable data on the populations and behavior of these whales, which are believed to be in decline. Previous research has shown that beaked whale populations in the Gulf of Mexico may have declined by as much as 83%. Jeez, ow. Since the 2010 Deepwater Horizon oil spill, yeah, underscoring the need to better understand these hard to study species and the threats they face. Guessing their populations were probably in close proximity to the region.
floppy rabbit says that they can dive, 7 feet.
I think they're 7 feet. I think they're more than 7 feet tall.
No,
There.
that's what the person's saying. They can dive 7 feet. Person
Oh, yeah, it is pretty challenging. So for the new study, researchers deployed specialized underwater listening systems on the seafloor off the coast of Louisiana at a depth of approximately 1,100 meters or 3,600 feet. Now, it sounds like you're not very tall. Anyway, two high frequency acoustic recording packages or HARPs equipped with multiple time synchronized sensors recorded echolocation clicks from beaked whales during 50 deep foraging dives. By measuring tiny differences in the time it took each click to reach individual sensors, scientists were able to estimate the direction of the sound, combining data from both systems and allowed them to reconstruct the whale's three-dimensional underwater movements. Okay, so I'm guessing these are just the sounds that they're hearing. I don't think we're gonna see a whale, but I guess we'll check it out. Okay, let's see. So depth, I don't exactly know what's going on. I'm guessing north to south, east to west? Uh, no
I don't
idea.
know what I'm looking at.
I'm guessing it's maybe hunting some sort of a squid. The team tracked the dive behavior of three species: goosebeaked, crevice, and Blainville's beaked whales. Found that goosebeaked whales were detectable for longer periods and tended to make deeper foraging dives than the other species, often approaching the sea floor. The study marks the first time this acoustic tracking technology has been used to generate detailed dive behavior and movement data for beaked whales in the Gulf of Mexico. The results demonstrate the power of passive acoustics to study some of the ocean's most elusive mammals in regions where traditional research methods are difficult or impractical. The work was conducted as part of the LISTEN long-term investigations into soundscapes, trends, ecosystems, and noise project, an ongoing collaboration led by NOAA's Southeast Fisheries Science Center, Scripps Institution of Oceanography at the University of California, San Diego, and other partners. A lot of people are cooperating with this. The study, titled Beaked Whale Dive Behavior and Acoustic Detection Range off Louisiana using three-dimensional acoustic tracking, was published February 4th, 2026 in the journal PLOS ONE. This research was funded by NOAA's Restore Science Program under a grant to the Southeast Fisheries Science Center for the project, assessing long-term trends and processes during variability in cetacean or whale density throughout the Gulf of America, 2019 to 2029. It's the first time, huh, actually, that's surprising. I wasn't expecting a decade, but I guess that would make sense. Additional support came from the no, that's not well, I thought that had already occurred. I was thinking of, um, just 2009 to 2019. I wasn't, hitting me that there are still a few years to yet be surveyed. Additional support came from the Deepwater Horizon Open Ocean Trustee Implementation Group's Reduce Impacts of Anthropogenic Noise on Cetaceans or Whales project, which aims to restore natural resources injured by the 2010 oil spill. Uh, maybe I'm not sure how much of that we're able to quickly heal, if any. Well, okay, maybe on land to an extent, like the different coastal marshlands we can, but the rest of it, besides certain fish, maybe fish supply. Oh, there he is. He looks like a peaceful lad.
Mm.
It just keeps moving. Was that it? Alrighty. Oh, AI. I bet.
Is it?
Yeah, it's gotta be. Oh, the zebra foal will be right next to a male rhino, and look like it's fully intact. No, no,
Oh, someone's hand sitting right there.
no, that's fake. The way they're all moving, and that lion was, a bit uneven its footing. The other lion should have moved much further back.
Nobody said anything. Oh,
Yeah, really. Okay, so from sunnyskies.com, photographer captures stunning photos of spotted moose in Norway. A rare spotted moose has made a majestic appearance in Buskura, Norway. Stunning creature, marked by its unique spotted coat, has become the talk of the town after photographer Thomas Mork managed to capture breathtaking images of the elusive animal. Whoa! Well, look at this guy. This apparently seems to be a piebald moose, like the piebald white-tailed deer over in, I think, different parts of Virginia and possibly Pennsylvania.
that thing's beautiful.
And I think there was a piebald elk that showed up recently, but this is very distinct. It's almost like a dairy cow of, moose.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes, it's a very good looking female. Also seems pretty healthy too. Very matching or, it's a good looking blend. It's almost like a
Incredibly
du
thick.
it's almost like a, I mean, possibly pregnant, but, it's almost like certain donkey breeds too. Um, but yeah, it looks really good. The enchanting encounter unfolded when Mork received a tip from an observant friend who was lucky enough to spot the rare moose in the wild. I said mouse. I have a friend who runs horses up there, and the moose had been on his summer pasture for several days. Oh, it's a he? Maybe he just lost his antlers. Sorry, buddy. I traveled there immediately because suddenly he could be gone.
Is everybody watching following us on Kick?
Yes, so we'd like to know. Is there another one? Oh yeah, there's another picture. It almost looks like it almost looks like a,
I
an
was thinking
early
donkey.
well, you could say a donkey, maybe a small deer or like a pygmy moose in this instance. It's like a little dwarf or or it looks like the ancestor to deer or even, giraffes in this instance. It's just the neck structure, but it's got a thick neck. This is a very healthy moose. This does not look like one of the ones over in Vermont or New Hampshire or even certain other areas, maybe in Ontario, and it's suffering with, like, different missing pieces of fur. It doesn't exactly have a lot of, um, the, like, layer it doesn't have a necessary layer of fat to get through the winter, at least comfortably. This one seems all, like,
It's
puffy
yeah,
and fluffy. I mean, this is a good-looking moose. The resulting photographs showcase the spotted moose foraging for food amidst the dense snow of whole municipality. Han Ira, while en route to his workplace, also had the opportunity to witness the moose. It doesn't look like a moose. He's almost as fat as a pig, the belly like a cow. So okay, so it says I keep thinking it's a female. So this male moose is just simply he's put on a lot of fat for the winter. I do kind of wonder if somebody gave him some like supplemental carbs during the fall. And he's immediately going to start regrowing his antlers. But I wonder when this took place. Maybe I don't know, early January or late December. Mark confirmed the animal has been eating well. He's good, fat. He's pretty round, and it looked like he was doing well. Several days after capturing the photos, Mork revisited the location with his children, only to find that the moose had disappeared. Oh, okay, it was 2 years ago, but still, I mean, probably still roaming.
well, we've never seen anything on him before.
Yeah. Kids and I went to look for him today, but he was gone. He was eating well and looks like he will survive the winter. We also have to keep our fingers crossed it stays away from motorways and railways. You know that too. Wolves.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
He
that.
stays out of the towns.
Yeah, wolves, brown bears.
Is that it?
Seems that way. Okay, next video. Oh, this lynx. It's
I'm
an I
sorry, I just like this guy.
think it's a fat Iberian lynx. He has area to actually run around. Geez, so he adopts dogs and cats. Well, other cats.
He doesn't care. He's like, "Yep, okay."
It's just it's pretty abnormal to see a lynx just dwarfing everybody.
How large do they get?
I think you can have certain individuals that might reach somewhere around 50 to 70 pounds, depending on the species of lynx. Iberian lynx probably around maybe 30 to 50 pounds, or somewhere between 12 to 22 kilograms.
50 pounds would be huge.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the other dogs, maybe he's like a 30 to 40 pound. He's probably like 12 to 17.
I just like videos of
He seems like a good adopter. So, possibly heading back in time from vcresearch.berkeley.edu, double-fanged adolescents of saber-toothed cats. Evidence suggests saber-toothed cats hold on to their baby teeth to stabilize their sabers. Mechanical analysis of the distinctive canines of California's saber-toothed cat Smilodon pictalis suggests that the baby tooth that preceded each saber stayed in place for years to stabilize the growing permanent saber tooth, perhaps allowing adolescents to learn how to hunt without breaking them. Now, I did hear about the distinctive 2 sets of canines, like, within that distinct canine region, and originally it was just thought to have 1. But what else everything else that's going on here, I had not heard of. So, take a deeper look. It's very possible, though, that the sides of the saber-toothed cat's mouth over here would have been fleshy, kind of like when you look at, certain, like, lions, tigers today in that very fleshy area, or that area of gum where, their teeth can be placed and not really, be subject to wear from the, especially the wind or other elements. So let's see. Um, well, I mean, I guess you could say saber-tooth canines might be somewhat subject to it, but where specifically, especially the inside the tooth is connected, it helps protect. It's not constant friction.
why is it that they have that same strange lip or whatever it is that the marsupial saber-tooths have.
Oh, these guys are also known as the chinless saber-tooth. This is referring to the famous saber-tooth cats like Smilodon fatalis, probably this individual, and then the Smilodon populator, the larger South American species.
Oh, what's the thing I'm talking about?
But you're talking about a Thylacolsmilus. So, I mean, there's other species, but THY, Smilodon, they're chinless somewhat. Okay, so THYLACOSMILUS. These animals lived in South America, also during even the Pliocene, and possibly even to the Miocene epochs. So well over 3 million years ago. In some cases, over 6 million years ago, depending on the Thylacolsmilid saber-tooth species. And here he is. So that is likely what that small area of where the jaw is located on Smilodon would have looked like, but not necessarily extra lip covering the canine. So yes, this is marsupial. This is much more closely related to today's koalas, kangaroos, wombats.
But that's what I was referring to as why they don't have.
Yeah, well, the Thylacolsmilids have a very long piece of bone right here, so they're like a long kinky saber tooth. The problem is they even have weaker bite structures compared to some fatalis. And fish you might think would help, and it really doesn't. Um, another thing. I think Smilodon might have sharper uh, molars compared to the Thylacolsmilids. So the fearsome saber-toothed saber-like teeth of Smilodon fatalis. By the way, there's no such thing as saber-toothed tiger. Tigers and saber-tooths are very distantly related, especially even Smilodon. So, whereas they're both members of the felid order of mammals, they belong to completely different groups. Looking at just their genes alone. So lions, tigers, they belong to Panthera, whereas Fatalis populator, they belong to Smilodon. Or this, um, basically, so lions, tigers, Panthera, these saber-toothed cats that some people are familiar with are Smilodon. So, California state fossil are familiar to anyone who has ever visited Los Angeles' La Brea Tar Pits. A sticky trap from which more than 2,000 saber-toothed cat skulls have been excavated over more than a century. That is to take into account some of them are fragments of different skulls. Not all of them are fully intact. It's a bit more common for dire wolf skulls to be much better preserved. Okay, so a few of the recovered.
You mean the thing they claim that they made that they didn't?
What?
The dire wolf.
Oh, right, that thing. Yeah, so there was a big thing that came out, I guess, back in 2024 or early 2025, where supposedly some company, I think it's the same one that's trying to bring back woolly mammoth, which is still not technically possible. Um, but so they claimed they brought back the dire wolf, and instantly hearing this, I'm like, no way. You're telling me you brought back Scion, which is the genus of wolf that the dire wolf was. And it was about the same size as a large gray wolf, so reaching somewhere between 130 to 150 pounds, or somewhere between 60 to 70 kilograms. And it turned out, yeah, it was just another genus lupus, canis being the genus of gray wolf today. Um, Technically, dogs are too. They're just a distinct subspecies. And they just had distinctive, certain minute changes in the genes that gave them the sort of look, but they're still gray wolves. Um, so it wasn't really anything different. Yeah, so about that. Though few of the recovered skulls had sabers attached, a handful exhibited a peculiar feature. The tooth socket for the saber was occupied by two teeth, with the permanent tooth slotted into a groove in the baby tooth. Paleontologist Jack Sang, associate professor of integrative biology at the University of California, Berkeley, doesn't think the double fangs were a fluke. 9 years ago, he joined a few colleagues in speculating that the baby tooth helped to stabilize the permanent tooth against sideways breakage as it erupted. The researchers interpreted growth data for the saber-toothed cat to imply that the two teeth existed side by side for up to 30 months during the animal's adolescence, after which the baby tooth fell out. In a new paper accepted for publication in the journal The Anatomical Record, Sang provides the first evidence that the saber tooth alone would have been increasingly vulnerable to lateral breakage during eruption, but that a baby or milk tooth alongside it would have made it much more stable. That is quite interesting because that makes a lot more sense. The evidence consists of computer modeling of saber-tooth strength and stiffness against sideways bending and actual testing and breaking of plastic models of saber teeth. So here is part of the jaw. So I guess that's the um, next tooth coming in, probably the adult. So question is this simply going to stay or fall out? So found in 2003 from La Brea tar pits. It's even got that tar like coating. So a portion of the right maxilla of the saber-toothed cat, so that right part of the skull, Rhododon fatalis, showing a fully erupted baby saber-tooth with the adult tooth just erupting. Based on Sang's tooth eruption timing table, he estimates that the animal was between 12 and 19 months of age at the time of death. Also is from La Brea tar pits. So this new study is a confirmation, a physical and simulation test of an idea some collaborators and I published a couple of years ago that the timing of the eruption of the sabers has been tweaked to allow a double fang stage. Said Sang was a curator of the UC Museum of Paleontology. Imagine a timeline where you have the milk canine coming out, and when they finish erupting, permanent canine comes out and overtakes the milk canine, eventually pushing it out. What if this milk tooth, for 30 or so months that it was inside the mouth right next to this permanent tooth, was mechanical buttress? He speculates that the unusual presence of the baby canine, one of the deciduous teeth all mammals grew and lose by childhood, long after the permanent saber tooth erupted, protected the saber while the maturing cats learned how to hunt without damaging. Eventually, the baby tooth would fall out and the adult would lose the saber support, presumably having learned how to be careful with its saber, especially not to make any side-to-side motion. It's very dangerous for the saber-toothed cats of most species. They would really be focusing on a vertical up and down motion. So, also going after the softer bits of sticking to really the muscle of the animals. Now, it's possible when they were feeding, if they came into contact with bone, like their canines wouldn't necessarily break, but as long as it was just maybe bits of their front teeth or their back molars, then they'd probably be okay. Especially they might be like biting to the side, with what you'll see with lions, even hyenas will do it occasionally. Especially they're gnawing on like a ligament. Let's see. So paleontologists still do not know how saber-toothed animals like Smilodon hunted prey without breaking their unwieldy sabers. There's constant different tests of how they would take on things like bison, cows, maybe even young mammoths or mastodons in the region, horses, might be something else. Possibly hunting certain smaller or medium-sized ground sloths. The double fang stage is probably worth a rethinking now that I've shown there's this potential insurance policy, this larger range of protection. Um, I guess also like the companies, all of a sudden once it needs it at its adult stage, it expired. Kind of like, um, never mind. It allows the equivalent of our teenagers to experiment, to take risks, essentially to learn how to be a full grown, fully fledged predator. I think that this refines, though it doesn't solve, thinking about the growth of saber-tooth use and hunting through a mechanical lens. The study also has implications for how saber-tooth cats and other saber-toothed animals hunted as adults, presumably using their predatory skills and strong muscles to compensate for vulnerable canines. Um, If you're talking about specifically their forelegs, I mean, yeah, the Smilodon had some of the strongest forelegs compared to its body size of any predatory mammal. But it still would need the teeth to fully finish the job in most instances when it came to these larger megafauna herbivores that it's feeding on, especially things like bison. That would be an interesting sort of hunt, though. Even taking on like the certain younger mammoths or mastodons in the region, likely even a pride of saber tooths are not taking on a full-grown Colombian mammoth, a full-grown American mastodon. I mean, American mastodons are reaching somewhere around 8 tons.
We had some kind of sound issue and no one was telling us.
Oh, um,
I
hmm,
fixed it.
that's strange. Okay, that's good. All right. See, is there anything else? Oh, thanks to the wealth of saber-toothed cat fossils. So here's probably, I'm guessing, the rest of it, or it's another skull. Thanks to the wealth of saber-toothed cat fossils, which includes many thousands of skeletal parts in addition to skulls unearthed from the La Brea tar pits, scientists know a lot more about Smilodon fatalis than about any other saber-toothed animal. Even though at least five separate lineages of saber-toothed animals evolved around the world, Smilodon roamed widely across North America and into Central America, going extinct about 10,000 years ago. Well, it first appeared around 2 million years ago back in the early Pleistocene epoch. It was a pretty successful species. Um, Let's see. So the complete cranium of a Smilodon with fully erupted sabers. The left saber seen behind is broken. Oh, yep, you can see that. Now it's chipped off. Based on the condition of the fully adult saber, Sang estimates that the animal was at least 3 years old when it died. Sheesh. So it's a Labrea tarpid individual as a young saber tooth. Yet paleontologists are still confounded by that fact that adult animals with thin bladed knives for canines apparently avoided breaking them frequently despite the sideways forces likely generated during biting. One study of the La Brea predator fossils found that during periods of animal scarcity, saber-toothed cats did break their teeth more often than in times of plenty, perhaps because of altered feeding strategies. So this is taking place over 40,000 years ago over in California during the Ice Age. Though compared to other areas of North America, especially different parts of Canada, the northern United States, um, California was a bit more mild in terms of like the harsh cold. Um, let's see. Now you did have a bit of the mammoth steppe occur in this region, and as well, even certain forested areas, places like certain national parks, which are quite arid today, would have been a bit more lush and greenery to the point where they're fueling animals like the ground sloths. So let's see. Oh, and the heavily armored glyptodonts that would have inhabited the region as well. So let's see. The double fanged specimens from La Brea, which have been considered rare cases of individuals with delayed loss of the baby tooth, gave Zhang a different idea that they had an evolutionary purpose. To test his hypothesis, he used beam theory, a type of engineering analysis employed widely to model structures ranging from bridges to building materials to model real life saber teeth. This is combined with finite element analysis, which uses computer models to simulate the sideways forces a saber tooth could withstand before breaking. According to beam theory, when you bend a blade like structure laterally sideways in the direction of their narrower dimension, they are quite a lot weaker compared to the main direction of strength. Prior interpretations of how saber tooths may have hunted use this as a constraint. No matter how no matter how they use their teeth, they could not have bent them a lot in a lateral direction. No, no, they are very susceptible to pressure. So, a finite element model of an adult saber tooth indicating saber bending stress. The warmer the color, the higher the stress, the more likely failure will occur in a particular area of the tooth model. The red dot near the tip is where the force was applied to measure the sideways bending stress. Yeah, so over here, even the yellow to an extent, that's where a lot of stress is occurring. And then right there, at least I'm guessing. Yeah, okay. So, he found that while the saber's bending strength, how much force it can withstand before breaking, remained about the same throughout its elongation. The saber's stiffness, its deflection under a given force, decreased with increasing length. In essence, as the tooth got longer, it was easier to bend, increasing the chance of breakage. The tooth got Oh, so as they became longer, yeah, they became much more susceptible to bending. That
Breaking?
is, yeah, bending, breaking. So yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. By adding a supportive baby tooth in the beam theory model, however, the stiffness of the permanent saber kept pace with the bending strength, reducing the chance of breaking. Really makes me think that would probably lead to more of a pride structure, considering it's would be such a risk for a saber tooth to, somewhat um, damage its canine, especially one, and all of a sudden it doesn't have anybody else to help it take down the prey. It also has both canines available. By adding, during the time period when the permanent tooth is erupting alongside the milk one, it is around the time when you switch from maximum width to the relatively narrower width, when that tooth will be getting weaker. When you add an additional width back into the beam theory equation to account for the baby saber, the overall stiffness more closely aligned with theoretical optimal. Though not reported in the paper, he also 3D printed resin replicas of saber teeth and tested their bending strength and stiffness on a machine designed to measure tensile strength. The results of these tests mirrored the conclusions from the computer simulations. He is hoping to 3D print replicas from more lifelike dental material to more accurately simulate the strength of real teeth. Singh noted that the same canine stabilization system may have evolved in other saber-toothed animals. Oh, I bet it did. I mean, looking at the microdonted lineage of saber-tooths, which is the massive family of cats, so of Felidae, that would eventually give rise to different animals such as the Smilodontids, the Homotherians. There's a few other families. The Thylacophilids, though, despite them being saber-toothed, are not cats. They're just distinctive cat-like marsupials, kind of like the marsupial lion Thylacoleo, though it isn't technically a lion. It's its own branch of marsupial, and it's from Australia. Let's see. Mm, okay, so while no examples of double fangs in other species have been found in the fossil record, that's interesting. I thought there was another creature. Some skulls have been found with adult teeth elsewhere in the jaws, but milk teeth where the saber would erupt. What we do see is milk canines preserved on specimens with otherwise adult dentition, which suggests a prolonged retention of those milk canines, while the adult tooth, the sabers are either about to erupt or erupting. Um. Okay. Wow. We're going to take a 2-minute break. We'll be right back.
I needed a break after that.
Yeah, it was quite a bit. I mean, I do wonder how many of these skulls, though, of this Smilodon fatalis they have discovered with these specific baby teeth. But it is interesting. So it's like the double saber is a bit. It's they made it out originally when this discovery, at least of the two sets of teeth, was I think found back in 2023 or 2024. That it was like official that saber tooth had two sets of teeth. It was like, wow, oh, okay, that's nice to hear. And it says no, it was more of just when they were growing up, and then they would lose it. It's like, oh, well, that's a big difference, huge. Because I'm like, why are we still getting fractured saber tooth canines? Well, that's why. Gosh. Okay. Let's head over to the next video. This rabbit is escaping from the dog by taking pauses because the dog is a little chubby.
Yeah,
Wait a
this I
second.
found really funny.
Wait. Oh yeah, I think I saw this. This is Wiener Dog. um, getting some cardio.
I kinda wonder if it's their rabbit.
Yeah, I kind of wonder that too. He seems almost relaxed.
The dog's smiling.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "Okay, I'll run a little more. Come on, gotta get that weight off."
Hunley getting some cardio from Curious George. Okay, so from global.hokkaido, I think it's supposed okay, like hokkaido.ac.jp. Okay, so from Hokkaido University or the northern island of Japan. Narwhals hit moorings, questioning safety assumptions of oceanographic monitoring in the Arctic. Researchers have recorded hundreds of incidents of narwhal interaction with underwater recording devices, suggesting passive monitoring is not as invasive as previously assumed. Interesting. This is a double
Non-evasive.
oh, non-invasive. Double beaked, I mean double tusked narwhal.
Is that normal?
Um yeah, I'm not it's not hitting me why this is occurring. At least with many narwhals, they just tend to have one. Double tusked narwhal harvested in the study area by Inuits
Whoa, whoa. Did it just say harvested?
in the study area. Oh, that's what that is. Oh, he's not alive. I thought he was saying hi to the camera. Apparently, he was okay. Underwater passive acoustic recording is vital for researchers to monitor and study marine animals in their natural environment with minimal disturbance. Shortly, we're going to need a picture of a narwhal. Using passive acoustic monitoring to detect acoustically active animals helps to census biodiversity, understand animal behavior, and habitat use, and reduce the negative impacts of human made noise, said Associate Professor Evgeny A. Podolsky of the Arctic Research Center at Hokkaido University in Sapporo, Japan. For these reasons, scientists increasingly rely on passive acoustic monitoring to answer fundamental ecological questions and manage conservation. Endemic Arctic whales, the narwhals, however, seem to have developed a strong interest in underwater passive recording devices.
You ready?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, so these animals can reach a little over 18 feet in length. They're pushing around, what, 5.5 meters? And probably weighs somewhere around 3,000 pounds, maybe a little bit more, or pushing over 1,300 kilograms. I don't
Is
think
that
that's a
real?
real. Yeah, I don't think it is. And yes, they do use their tusks for somewhat fighting and as well. I think even, gosh, what was that? It was either scratching each other or I think even trying to help get through the ice in some instances. Oh, no, the main thing is, to help with communication. They are extremely, their tusks are very sensitive. So, they have all these different nerve endings along their tusks. So they're very useful in a variety of ways. They do make frequent migrations in different parts of the Arctic, especially over in different parts of Hudson Bay. So in
They're so
areas of
strange
Canada,
looking, I can't tell if something is AI or not.
that's probably a drawing.
What?
It's a bit better. Yeah, it's a drawing.
Oh, okay.
Not bad though.
Hold on.
Yes, they do tend to. They will also inhabit certain shallow areas, especially during the summertime, and scratch their bodies on the rocks, kind of like what the belugas do, which, by the way, are their closest relatives. They both belong to a specific family of the cetacean or whale
There, that's a
lineage.
good picture.
It's probably from like the 1800s, and yeah, it's pretty good. They're possibly supposed to be replicating, also coming to the coast and just scratching their bodies to help get rid of old skin cells as well as parasites.
Here's a good drawing.
That's probably authentic. It looks like it's in the same area. I think that's a part of Canada, unless it's referring to an area of Greenland, which is geographically part of North America. And what was it? Maybe an area of Svalbard, so the northern island of Norway. Let's see. Okay, so over the course of a 2-year study in Greenland, narwhals repeatedly approached, scanned, and hit deep sea hydrophones. In a study published in Communications Biology, Podolsky and colleagues from Hokkaido University and the National Institute of Polar Research analyzed data from Inglefield Bregning Ford in northwest Greenland. They collaborated with local Inuit hunters to deploy and retrieve 3 underwater acoustic recording devices to depths ranging from 190 meters to 400 meters. I'm guessing that's somewhere around, hmm, uh, 400, no, yeah, 400 to 500 feet to, what, 1,300 feet or so? 13 or 1,400 feet? The devices recorded sounds between August 2022 and May 2024, including those of narwhals repeatedly knocking and rubbing against them, of echolocation clicks, and of the foraging buzz of narwhals, which got louder as they approached the devices. Altogether, there were 247 incidents of narwhal hits and more than 4,000 hours of audio recordings. These hits were detected on the 2 deepest recording devices located 25 kilometers apart. Given that the recordings were not continuous and had 15-minute pauses, the researchers estimated that the true number of narwhal hits on the 2 devices could have been as much as 484 to 613 over the 2 months of narwhal presence in the area. Wow. Oh, that's good to hear. Representing an average of 10 to 11 hits a day, mostly during daytime hours. Oh, wow. Okay, 4,000 hours of audio recordings. That wasn't hitting me at first. That's a lot. These animals are communicating frequently, kind of like the walruses. They're not whales. They're seals. I mean, not they're part of the pinniped family. Not technically seals. They are walruses. But seals, sea lions, um, but monk seals, walruses, they're all part of the pinniped lineage of marine mammals. And narwhals are cetaceans like belugas. Okay. So, results suggest that narwhals repeatedly dive to visit the moorings out of playful curiosity or more likely due to confusion with potential prey. The study included analysis of the stomach contents of 16 narwhals caught in the same area in August 2022 and 2023 by Inuit hunters as part of their subsistence harvest. The analysis revealed that narwhal diet was primarily composed of cod, which is fish, type of fish, with smaller amounts of shrimp and squid. The team also found stones in the stomachs. That's interesting. I don't often hear of narwhals or even belugas going after squids, at least up in the Arctic. The researchers speculate that the narwhals might confuse the recording devices with cod or halibut near the seafloor. Halibut is also another fish.
Halibut.
Halibut. Although they noted that narwhals might be able to distinguish fine differences in texture and density through echolocation as other toothed whales. They also noted that the devices sometimes picked up a prolonged rubbing sound after the foraging buzz and hit, which they suggested could be the sound of the animal's skin sliding past the microphone. Though little is known about molting in narwhals, mooring rubbing could be the associated behavior. Inuit hunters were not surprised by the discovered interaction. They are familiar with narwhal entanglement in unattended gear. They also believe that narwhals like to play and are told so by their parents and joke that narwhals might scratch their backs like cats. Well, not like cats, but they do scratch their backs on the rocks. While this is possible, in other Arctic whales are known to rub their bodies over rocks. It is unlikely due to the high energetic costs of deep diving.
Wait a minute. Cattle do that. Bears do that. Deer do it.
Yeah, practically all mammals and reptiles and amphibians in some cases. The findings raise questions about whether passive acoustic monitoring is actually as non invasive as it's thought to be. The paper demonstrates that narwhals are not deterred, but rather attracted to scientific moorings, showing that the presence of these artificial devices can affect the behavior of this species. The author suggests that short mooring lines might be a simple precaution to minimize
What?
inadvertent effects of observations indispensable for conservation and management. Understanding animals' interaction with industrial and scientific infrastructure can help reduce impacts on wild animals and improve our ability to implement and interpret autonomous field observations. So here's a pod of narwhals, I'm guessing, over amongst Greenland. So yeah, at Inglefield, Bredning Ford, Northwest Greenland. Hmm. Oh, that's it. Oh, it's good to see when it comes to their vocalizations over at these fords over, not the fords, the moorings that they put down to record their sounds. Okay, this seems authentic. So where are we? I'm guessing it's a part of East Africa. Could be the Masai Mara or maybe the Serengeti.
So, and
These
da-da-da-da.
they seem like healthy cubs.
I wonder how far away they're shooting this from.
I mean, they'll often come up to safari vehicles, so I'm not entirely sure.
Hey, Dad,
He seems
we're
pretty.
here.
He seems pretty relaxed.
She's like, it's your turn. Hello, take them. No. Yes. I'm leaving. I'm taking a break now. You get to take them. That's what it looks like. And
Yeah, it seems that way. Yeah, that's definitely what happened.
hey, what was that?
Yeah, a little grumpy.
He stepped on the one.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not very nice. I don't understand why they do that to the Cubs. Like, you were just laying there and seemed pretty relaxed. And okay, moving forward, news.mongabay.com. Farmers in Nepal and India see red as blue bulls raid their crops. Well. We have the largest antelope over in Asia, the nilgai, which is also a bit invasive over in South Texas. There's somewhere between 800 to 1,700 of them.
Well, they have tiny horns.
Yeah, they don't become very large. And these animals can still weigh somewhere around 800 to 1,100 pounds.
They look thick.
Yeah, and they're somewhere around what 380 to around what uh 550 pounds, 550 kilograms. And yes, they are herbivores, and they do inhabit different parts of India, and occasionally are tiger food. Okay, so we're not in India. So Lumbini, Nepal. 3 years ago, Ram Chandra Kurmai, farmer from the village of Gadahawa in southwestern Nepal, abandoned his small vegetable plot. The 39-year-old who once supported his family of five through farming now struggles to make a stable income. The culprit, he says, is the uncontrolled proliferation of nilgais or blue bulls, Bocephalus tragocamelus, a large antelope species. Oh, what? Did I say antelope or deer?
No,
I
you
said
said
antelope.
antelope.
Okay. A large antelope species native to this region. Nilguys come at night when no one's around to shoo them away and munch on the vegetables. I couldn't do anything about it, so I had to quit farming altogether. Yeesh, that hurts. Um, guess they have a lot of rights over in Nepal too when it comes to the antelope and probably almost all the animals there. Karamai's story is echoed across the Indo-Gangetic plains that straddle the Nepal-India border region, where marginalized farming communities complain of government inaction to address the problem. The Nilgai, whose return to neighboring Bangladesh after nearly a century was celebrated there, is typically found at elevations ranging from 75 to 300 meters or about 300 to 1,000 feet. It's been described as having the body of a horse and head of an antelope. Making it even more distinctive is the fact that adult males are iron blue to light gray in color, hence the name Nilgai, blue cow. It also has been said to have the appetite of a cow, the speed of a horse, and the alertness of a dog. I think that's just a large antelope trait, but I guess you could say eland are a bit more, I guess, less alert, and kudu to an extent over in Africa. So Nepal's government lacks official data on nilgais outside the country's national parks, but a 2018 Ministry of Forest and Environment assessment estimated 300 to 350 individuals across several border districts, such as Rapendai, where the town of Gadahawa is located, Kabilvastu, Nawal Ratuhat, Saralhai, Danusha, and Siraha. Sheesh, that's a lot. Mm, yeah. Well, as you get closer to the Himalayas and a lot more forest cover. Okay. This species population is believed to have increased rapidly as nilgais are prolific breeders. For example, I was I must have been um stuck back in the early 1900s. For example, a dozen introduced to a ranch in the U.S. state of Texas in 1929 to 1930 has since grown to an estimated 36,000 to 50,000, even with extensive hunting. Whoops. I think that was a family of no guy I was referring to. Okay, I heard. Wow. Okay. That's like the Gemsbach bat over in New Mexico and Arizona. I don't know where I got the number from. In Nepal, municipal officials, conservationists, and researchers agree that the population grew remarkably in the last decade. However, without scientific studies, theories about the cause vary. Some link it to the end of Nepal's moist insurgency, Maoist. Oh, 1996 to 2006, during which rebels hunted nilgais for food, according to Dihari Thapa, chair of the Triveni Buffer Zone. I read buffet. Zone Consumer Committee in the border district of Nawalpur.
You called Mao's mount moist. That was funny.
Yeah, it wasn't him. I'm like, wait a second. Oh, like Mao, like communist,
Yes.
Maoist. If anyone were to try to hunt a nilgai now, he says everyone has a mobile phone, so someone will immediately inform the security authorities. Others point to the spread of invasive plants such water hyacinth. Oh, geez, that's invasive in different parts of North America, especially the eastern United States. It clogs creeks, rivers, even it's bad for ponds and lakes, which is Pontidaria cresepes,
Is that the thing
devilweed.
people throw into our stuff?
I think occasionally they do. Devilweed, Cromulina or Darata. I think this too. And Lantana. Geesh. Possibly them as well. Lantana camara, which have crowded out the native vegetation that no guides preferred to feed on. If fresh grass were available in the forest, the animals would not venture into human settlements, says Thakur Sawal, Dean of the Institute of Forestry at Tribhuvan University in Kathmandu. And there is a Nilgai in the forest.
I think it's Kathmandu.
Um, hmm, he's not with a herd.
He's all by himself.
Maybe he's just with the smaller bachelor herd and they're elsewhere. Notably, the Nilgai problem is largely absent from Nepal's western plains, home to tigers in Banki, Bardia, and Shukla Fanta national parks. Ashish Kudhari from the NGO Friends for Wildlife Conservation attributes this to a balanced predator prey dynamic. Where there are healthy populations of tigers, nilgai populations remain in check. However, wildlife researcher Naresh Subedai from the National
Jesus.
Trust for Nature Conservation, which manages Nepal's national parks, suggests the issue is more complex, with nilgais favoring disturbed grasslands over the untouched habitats found in protected areas. They also like to remain close to human settlements where they can go at night for food, he adds. Hunting nilgais is illegal in both Nepal and India. In India's Bihar state, where the species has been classified as vermin, around 5,000 were called between 2016 and 2020. Yet farmers continue to suffer losses. In Nepal, a 2016 study found that 303 nilgais in 16 villages of the Rupandihai district caused an estimated $68,600 in annual agricultural losses. Yeah, that's quite a bit. The actual amount would be much higher just for the district as we didn't not cover the entire region, the entire area. Says
That's a double negative.
Siri Hana Kanal, lead author of the study. Farmers in both countries rarely receive timely compensation. Complex processes and delayed ex gratia payments likely make the farmers even more intolerant towards the species.
Huh.
From World Wildlife Fund India, oh, you people. It was seen that people are not interested to apply for compensation as the loss estimation procedure was highly inappropriate. And even the money, though the money was awarded many times, the money was less proportional to the loss experienced by the farmers. Just coming from you guys. Anyway, Nepal's government hasn't classified nilgais as an agriculture guest as it has for rhesus macaques. Macaca mulata, Boris Sus scrofa. However, local government representatives under pressure from frustrated farmers are pushing for a policy change. Surendra Prasad Kumai, the chair of Gaidahawa Municipality 4, says he spends much of his time addressing farmers' complaints. We are in direct contact with the people every day. As local representatives, we are the first to hear these complaints, but we lack the resources and authority to do anything. This is like nuts and funny. Lawmakers have also raised the issue in Nepal's parliament, demanding nilgais also be declared as agriculture pests so that the farmers can drive them away without any legal repercussions in the event that they kill one. The Department of National Parks and Wildlife Conservation has acknowledged the issue and says it's studying the population and impact. A decision can be taken once we have the numbers.
You couldn't make this up.
Bed Kumar Dikal, a spokesperson for the department. Is this the same nil guy? Oh no, it's a herd. Okay, in the grassland. So, but farmers' patience is wearing thin. And it's an understatement. They're already like saying they can't make a living off the farming. Ashok Mehta, chair of Betishwar Municipality Ward 1 in Danusha district, says that if the government fails to act, farmers will march on Kathmandu to hand over their land deeds in protest. We're not.
Kathmandu.
Oh, Kathmandu.
I think that's what it is.
Sounds like a dessert. We are not in a position to do anything about the nilgai, even when farmers call us crying. In the absence of a long term solution, the federal government has considered short term measures. 6 months ago, the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock wrote to the Department of National Parks and Wildlife Conservation requesting the relocation of nilgais from Sarlahai district to one of the national parks. However, budget constraints stalled the plan, according to Sindhu Duhangana, former Director General of the Department of National Parks and Wildlife Conservation.
What are we looking at?
I thought it was a Neolithic site at first, like 4,000 years ago. Let's see. So this idea is also backed by lawmaker Amresh Kumar Singh, who represents Sarlahai district in parliament. It says Nilgai's rate of crop destruction on the plains is more dangerous than what macaques have wreaked on farms in the hill country. I guess that makes sense. Talking about you're comparing something that might weigh about maybe they could get bigger than 30 pounds in some instances. There's some big macaques, they're a little over 12 kilograms. Okay, yet some experts disagree. Killing animals can never be a solution, says Sywald, the forestry dean. Nature can control its population if we improve the animal's habitat, especially get rid of the invasive plant species. Well, there's a younger one, but yes, this is a rhesus macaque. So they're omnivores. They'll go after insects and might even munch on um, maybe certain crustaceans, some instances, but they will also go after a wide range of fruit, and then even including like maybe certain people's potatoes. They'll rob people in the different urban areas.
Is that better?
Yes, and I don't mean rob them like they take some food. I mean they take your wallet, they take your glasses, and then you have to negotiate with them to get it back.
Yeah, that is the weirdest thing how they do
So
that.
yeah, they're quite something. Wow, though, people are also hominids. Humans are a part of nature, but there comes to a point where, especially because of the people, you have to call the animals or kill the animals in this instance, specifically the nilgai. You don't have any tigers to hunt them, so the striped hyenas in different regions don't go after them.
Well, the
Maybe a
problem
youngster.
is that they're destroying their own food for them.
Well, that too.
Well, that's what it said, that the invasive plants are destroying their food.
Well, yeah, that as well. Which I wouldn't think some instances it wouldn't take very long to get rid of those plants, especially if they're clogging different waterways. Um, but he said it can't ever be a solution. Well, naturally, you would have hunted the nilgai. So, taking a few isn't going to kill the animal, especially since we don't even know the population outside the region. But judging how often that they're occurring, it's very possible that there could be many more, especially like outside these protected areas, than they're making it out to be, or at least the government's making it out to be. And we know that there are tens of thousands of them over in Texas alone. So, let's see. Now you could say, it's not as populated, but I don't know how large of an area the nilgai over in Texas occupy. Let's see. So in India, farmers have turned to solar-powered electric fences, scarecrows, and night patrols, says World Wildlife Fund's Maria. They are spending a lot of time, effort, and energy in saving crops from nilgai and other wildlife. In some of the areas, farmers have shifted from cultivating grains to buffer crops such as tobacco, hoping to minimize their annual financial loss.
No, they're just trying to get them to start smoking.
Yeah, it seems that way. At sunset, Ram Bailash Yadav from Gaidahawa walks a kilometer to his field with a packed meal. He spends the night here in a small straw hut. I guard against nilgai all night, walking around the field with a torchlight.
Oh, that's what that picture was.
Yeah. Um, what else can I do? There is no other option. If I don't do this, it will destroy all the crops overnight. We have no choice. Bodh Ra also of Gadahawa keeps two dogs that bark nonstop whenever no guys enter his fields, waking him up so he can chase them away. Others use rotten fish intestines and putrefying substances to repel the animal.
Why don't the dogs just run them away?
Yeah, you would think so. Yeah. Well, okay.
Well, that was long.
Despite all these efforts, no guys still destroy our crops. We have fenced some areas where no guys often come, but it hasn't worked.
And it ends right there.
So Nilgai antelopes over in Rajasthan, India. So I guess that's where that was occurring. Okay, so we got a lot of havoc from the Nilgais. I was expecting like some reintroduction occurring, or maybe something to do with possibly certain carnivores, but did mention that originally that farmers were having trouble from crop theft or destruction. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Take a look. Take a look at some maybe trail camera footage or somebody else. This was probably somebody individually. Okay, so I think it's a leopard somewhere in India.
You watching?
This is India.
Yep.
Oh, one of these instances. Woo,
You
yep,
can't
you can
catch me.
climb too. Yeah, that was funny.
It really is because the tiger only gets partially up the tree. It'll teach you you're not gonna outclimb a tiger. But that guy, he's like, "See ya. You can't come up here."
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So, thanks for joining. Let's see. We will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. I mean, 12 p.m. 1 p.m. 1 p.m. And for Prehistoric Presents, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guy Live Daily News. And remember that nothing is better than all animals all the time.